Good evening. This is Dominic with TheBackVlog. I think last week I finished John Darnielle's Devil House. John Darnielle is the frontman of the Mountain Goats, and I didn't know that he was also an author. I've been eyeing this book for a little while, and I finally purchased it last year or 2 years ago. But you got like the 70s, 80s like gothic, like pulpy horror style here. This book is, or like the cover of the book is not representative at all of the content of the book. And honestly, this isn't really a horror book per se, but it is a good book still to read during the spooky season, even though it is not a horror book. What it is like a true crime book, or it's about a true crime author writing a true crime book about an infamous murder that takes place in the small town that he grew up in. And he unfolds the truth, and there's like a lot of emotional weight that comes with being a true crime author. There's a lot of it's got like a really melancholic twinge to it, and there's a lot of nostalgia for youth, and the transition between being a teenager and being an adult, because it's like at the end of high school. And like you have like the four main characters here who are like in the titular Devil House, and like the way they interact, it's so warm. There's a lot of heart to it, and it just feels sad because it's like they're all having fun and they all enjoy each other's company, but there's also like the ever looming presence that it's all going to end, and they all know it is, because that's life, which kind of like makes the events that transpire pretty tragic. One thing that this book delves into is the author's responsibility to portray victims and offenders as people, and not just as items of entertainment. And I think that goes for like every just documentarian covering something of this subject matter. I've seen some pretty distasteful stuff. Like there's so much stuff like schlock like this on like Netflix and stuff, and it's just, I think a lot of people who view this kind of stuff forget that this really happened, and it's not just for entertainment purposes. There's like one interesting bit which I don't you could have like a lot of interpretations, but like right in the middle of the book there's like this old-timey like medieval chapter that is talking about a kid who witnesses his father's death, and this kid is a king, or he's a prince, but now he's kind of like he's kind of inherited the kingdom. The way that it's written, like I said, is like in this like archaic prose, and this archaic prose occasionally creeps its way into the writing of Devil House, and it's really creepy the way it does it. It's really subtle, and I think it's really clever the way that it's done. One of the main inspirations for this book was the film River's Edge, which takes place in the same town that this book takes place in, covering a true murder that happened in that same town. John Darnielle is talking about how the way that the film portrayed a lot of the events was kind of distasteful, and meant for the movie screen. And the Devil House murder is kind of overshadowed by the River's Edge murder because of the movie adaptation of it. So like there's like this whole like moral dilemma that he has, trying to portray the Devil House murder as accurately and as tastefully as possible, so as not to offend the townspeople with another piece of media that portrays a gruesome murder. The ending of the book is very sorrowful. When John, or not John Darnielle, what's his name? Gage Chandler is the true crime author. Gage Chandler, after receiving a letter from the mother of a victim of a book that he previously wrote, that kind of fell into the same problem that the River's Edge quandary did. He is feeling very remorseful and regretful about, doing that and, taking up this profession. And when he finds out the truth of the Devil House, he kind of like goes into this spiral and like comes up with this whole story, which, I'm not really gonna get into so as to avoid like spoilers, but when he finds out what's really going on, it kind of breaks his heart. And it is very sad. And you can, like, it didn't like make me cry or anything, but the way that John Darnielle writes Gage Chandler's sorrow here is really believable. It's really well done, and it's really sad. Like you can picture this man kind of like breaking down, and I don't know. It's really good. I think a lot of people didn't like this book because it was like confusing or whatever, and they felt that the ending was underwhelming. I don't agree personally, and you have this video to prove it, but I thought this book was really good, and I'm really intrigued by John Darnielle's other two books, A Wolf in a White Van, and I don't remember the premise or the name of the other one, but the premises of the book seem really interesting and have the same kind of like retro, like 80s kind of thing going on, at first glance. And at first glance, that's what the cover of this book was kind of like detailing as well. And it does have a little bit of that like retro feel to it, where it's like a small town. The world feels small. I think that's really well portrayed in this book. I think it's worth a read. I think it's really good. I'm rushing to finish this video because my camera battery is about to die. So read Devil House by John Darnielle of Mountain Goats fame.